And today we are so honored to have Shirley Hoon, who is not easy to grab hold of. And I know she's super busy. So I really want to thank her for being here. So hi Shirley, thank you for joining us. Shirley is the HR director for the Singapore office from BOLLORE Logistics. Some of her colleagues have actually joined us in the past as well. So it's really great to have her here. Shirley is one individual you have to meet. And I mean every single word that I wrote in my email blast to all of you. So Shirley Hoon is a highly collaborative and outcome-driven HR leader with over 20 years, mostly working in private sector companies across different industries. And she is a firm believer of leveraging strong consultative approaches with key stakeholders in transforming people and growing the business together, right? All together with an energized HR team to drive purposeful solutions that meet the business outcome of the organization. So while we can be all tied up with the process and also some of the best practices, but she has her head on the business as well, and she knows that needs to be achieved. She is currently the HR director with BOLLORE Logistics. She has held HR roles at various organizations, and then also that we can see that her areas of expertise are both in operational HR and strategic HR, from overseeing all aspects end to end, all right, in terms of anything you want to know about HR. I think you can ask Shirley. And I think what I really liked when I was reading about her bio was this. Apart from just overseeing all aspects of HR, she was looking more from the direction of, setting up the teams and the infrastructure that support rapid business growth. I think I really like this word, rapid business growth. It's not easy. If we have all the time and the money to do it, why not? I think everybody can, but it's not the same when things need to take place and happen yesterday. She holds a bachelor's degree in social sciences from NUS and graduate diploma in HR management from SIM. Wow, today she's going to be sharing with us her perspective on career transition and role change. All right, let's listen to her for ease.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you very much for actually having me. And in fact, I was actually logged in since 2 o'clock, and for me, it has actually been a very enriching learning journey, because I guess for me, I've also picked up quite a number of keywords which I've managed to scribble into this little sheet. And I'm going to, after this session, look up on Google or on internet on social exchange theory.
What a good student you are. Woohoo, learning agility. Yay.
I try. Well, I guess when Eileen and I connected, I think about 2 years ago, in one of our training interventions that we have within BOLLORE, I guess I've more or less perhaps made a very good friend.
Yeah, so, indeed, yes.
Thank you very much, Eileen, for having me. And when she first approached me and asked is it possible for you to share your own little journey, it was actually very interesting a lesson for me, because I realized that when I actually looked at it and when I was preparing this deck, I realized that as I look back in terms of my own career journey, it's not been a short one. But having said that, I've sort of actually put a bit of a short summary in the next 2 slides.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, it's not about the successful role change, but how I've actually seen a bit of a recollection of what has actually taken place.
Yep.
So I guess if I can actually move on to the next slide. Yep. So this is a little bit in terms of what I've actually put across. So I guess from this time graph, you guys can actually see how young, how old I am. But 1999, before the year 2000, I've actually entered into the HR world while I was actually studying in NUS. And I said, okay, well, this is a vacation job. It's good money. It's just next to my school, so why not? Yeah. And I said, okay, let's join this US MNC. For me, it's eye-opening. It's super eye-opening.
Right.
Because I then realized that, okay, this is actually how an MNC actually operates. and working with the Americans, working with the Malaysians, the Chinese, the different nationalities in that particular organization really open up, my mind and my world, and in terms of how different cultures actually interact. Yeah, and I said, okay, that's interesting. And then after that, I started with Fluid Sciences as well, which is also another US company. And it was actually in the regional space. I said, okay, fine. Besides Singapore, can I actually try other countries? I said, okay, let's give it a try. And so therefore, I started, that bit of the journey, and move forward to 2010 after 10 years. And I then realized that, hey, actually, I've managed to, get myself into this little role where I'm actually seen as the key subject matter expert, which is the key, SME, where this is my first time actually, I used to actually report to a HR manager, a HR director, and therefore I had somebody to actually, always look up for me, give me instructions, what I need to do, and it was, very sheltered in a way, very protective, very supported. So this role for me is one of my key highlights within my own, career journey, because I realized that, suddenly I'm put in a position where the commercial leader is looking at me for advice. So what I actually say becomes, I wouldn't say Bible, but perhaps it's going to be taken very seriously. Yeah. And so I guess, for me, okay, then I better make sure that I do my homework properly.
When someone is looking, we start paying attention also.
Well, and it was actually with a medical device or healthcare company, where when I first went into the role, I wasn't hired by the commercial head. I was actually hired by the sales director. But the sales director actually had the experience and said, you know what, in order for the company to actually grow and develop, we actually need a proper HR. Yeah. So it took this commercial head 2 years to actually then be sold that, yes, indeed, for the business to grow, to develop further, he actually needs to hire a proper HR.
Right.
And I guess for me, thankfully, I was in that role, but it was fun while the journey lasted, etc. But I guess at the same time, I was very thankful for the opportunity, because medical device healthcare industry is a very humbling industry to actually support. Yep. Because it's recession proof, but at the same time, there's very meaningful work, because the industry itself, supports in terms of the growth, or if not the welfare of patients who are actually recovering from sprain, from accidents, from old age, etc. Yeah, so it's a very meaningful, very humbling industry to actually support.
Indeed.
Yeah, correct. And then after that, I move on to with Turner & Townsend in professional services, and
oh my God. Right.
to the end client. Yeah. So what do we then actually do? So which is why for me it's wow. Yeah. So it's a very eye-opening industry to actually work for as well, because we're then dealing with all the white collar roles, all the white collar workforce. With for me, I think I share openly with Eileen as well that in that industry, the rule will never apply to them. The general rule will never apply to them, because everyone actually is taken as a very special individual unit. Yeah. But then how do you then sort of provide or extend the HR services to this group of very interesting workforce? Yeah. So I guess it was actually very eye-opening as well, and I'm glad I was actually able to spend a bit of time to actually develop and also to work very closely with the different stakeholders.
I see.
Then I guess the last bit was actually where 5 years ago, where I actually joined BOLLORE Logistics in the supply chain and logistics industry. So it's my first time actually in this industry, and I realized that wow, this is it rocks. It rocks in a way that it's rock steady. Through COVID, we were very fortunate. The company was actually seen or if not classified as an essential business, and therefore we were able to continue operating. But having said that, continue operating in a COVID world, where majority of our workforce are actually back in the workplace, but at the same time, we were then, able to actually support from a distance.
Right.
Because there was a lot of SMM measures that was put in place. We were only able to actually have majority of the workforce that is operational, showing up at work. Yeah. So how do we then sort of make sure that there's collaboration, there's continued team spirit, within such an environment. Yeah. So I guess that's what I meant by it really rocks. Yeah.
Very, very nice. I guess that's a cue for me to move on.
Thank you. Thank you, Eileen. Yeah. So I guess I've put together as well the second slide, and this is the final slide in terms of my own little career journey. So it's almost 25 years in employment, and I guess for the last few companies that I was actually with, majority are actually with the US MNCs. And of course, in terms of the split of the regional and local portfolio, I was lucky enough to be exposed to both, and of course with 4 different country exchanges, and also 8 different industry exposure. Some roles I was an individual contributor, and of course with some as a people manager as well.
Right. Very, very nice. Am I right?
And I guess, and I guess the second part of this workshop is actually Eileen mentioned so yes please also share with us what are actually the 4 E's. I say okay, let's try and put it together. So I guess in the earlier session Eileen has really shared very openly with us in terms of the education, the experience, the exposure, and of course very importantly the external support. Yeah, or if not, Eileen.
Yay! Terrible, right? Okay.
Yeah, so I guess this 4 the usual 4 E's, I think it's quite clear, and it's also very straightforward in terms of trying to understand.
Right.
Yep. But if I were to go on to the next slide, I had a bit of think about it and say that what, actually the usual 4 E's are the same. It's it's either attending your previous sessions, or if not on internet, on Google, you can actually find out what the fees. I had a bit of thinking, and I came out with 4 different LPs.
Let's go.
So I guess so I guess at this point in time, can I perhaps ask the audience?
Oh, do you want me to? Oh my god, I shouldn't be showing this. Hello, guys. Okay, so I think that the thing here is, what do you think Shirley's 4 E's are? So just have random guesses. What do you think Shirley's 4 E's are? She has worked in the medical field in such a fulfilling job. In fact, you met your 4th E. You met your career sponsor, you met your supporter, you met your mentor, you met your advocate. You are so fortunate. Sometimes we meet and then we ignore them. Oh no. So what are some of the 4 E's? Guys, type in the chat. Let us know what you think are the 4 E's for Shirley's. Of course, not the 4 E's that I've mentioned. What other new E's that we can think of? All right, just type here. Let me know. Make some guesses what E's we have. So let's type in the chat. Let me hear. Oh, nice. Thank you, Gary. I think you see some here already, Shirley. So one of the E is empathy. Very good. And the second one is enthusiasm. Very, very nice. What else, guys? Give me more inputs. What other inputs? Oh, we have some more. Ken says embrace change. Wow, I really like that one. Embrace change. Okay, let's trust that Susan didn't see what I showed just now. Yes, of course. Just teasing you, Susan. Just teasing you. Excitement. All right. Totally concur with her. Excitement. You see, I get influenced by the next one. What Ray has entered in the chat. He said, excited. Excited. I really like that. Okay, what else? What other E's we have? Maybe we show them the first E lah. Okay. Are you alright? Shirley?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here we go.
Go
Yay,
ahead.
Shirley, you're right.
Yes.
Woohoo.
So yes, So with excitement, I guess for me, I always remind myself, or try to remind myself, that often, it's not all work days that are actually great days.
Yeah.
I guess we are human. At the end of the day, we're still human.
Right.
So as much as we want to be excited and want to, wake up every day, feeling fulfilled that it's going to be a great day, but it's not. Yeah. But I guess, if we can actually, self-talk and tell ourselves as well that, if we are able to bring, some happiness, some excitement to our work day, and even better to spread this excitement to our teams, to our colleagues, to, people that we actually come across. It can be the pantry auntie, it can be the cafe uncle, it can be, anyone that we actually, even on our way to work,
I like that.
To bring in, this bit of excitement that we are able to, help spread that cheer. I think it's important. Yep. Of course, the more the merrier, right? Yep. So what about the second E?
Do you want me to show?
Yeah, why not?
The rest will be saying, come on, Eileen. That's another song.
Yeah. The second actually, come about stage engagement. So when I look back, in terms of my career journey, my role has evolved, definitely. My mindset has shifted. My role definitely has moved from an individual contributor. I know what I need to do, what I need to perform. As long as my boss is actually happy, my supervisor is, delighted with, the performance, with the outcome, that I myself can actually manage. Yeah, and that's good enough. But throughout the years, the role has evolved in terms of actually working through people. Being a people manager, it's not about control. Yeah. For those of us in the audience who have actually been, in a people manager supervisory role, we know that it's not about command and control. That one is leave to the video games. Yeah. But it's actually working through people. Yeah. Right. It's actually trying to use of our influencing skills. How do we actually mentor? How do we coach? How do we delegate? How do we give instructions actually? Yeah. And so therefore, I think this point is actually very important in terms of being engaged. Being engaged is not just with ourselves, with our work, but engage with the external stakeholders or to the other parties that we are working with. So for example, sometimes I will have some crazy ideas. Yeah. Say for example, because with BOLLORE Logistics in Singapore, we have about 1,500 people with us in 12 different warehouses across Singapore. And therefore I said, okay, how do we bring excitement, to the workplace? Because my role, or perhaps my team's direction, is to support, the happiness at BOLLORE workplace. And I said, okay, maybe let's bring different food vendors, into the various, warehouses that we have. And so that gives a bit of excitement, to our workforce. And then I said, okay, this is a great idea, fantastic. It's going to, give us, put us in a very, interesting EVP, compared to our other competitors in the same industry. Yeah. And I said, okay, let me bring this idea and let me talk to my warehouse manager, to my operations manager, to my customer service managers. And then they came back and tell me, oh, actually, maybe, it's not that good an idea. Yeah, because there's a lot of logistics issues. There's, different shifts. There's, if you bring in this food vendor, it may just jumble up and create, a lot more not so exciting engagement after all. Yeah. So of course, we then scrap the idea. But this is just one of the, not so good outcome, but with good intention. Yeah. So, but that's what I actually meant by engagement. Yeah.
I really
to explore,
like that.
Bring the idea outside of, what we plan in the office, in the meeting rooms. Yeah, and share and gather, inputs, outputs, or outcomes, from other stakeholders who will actually be part of, the execution if it does happen. So fortunately, it didn't happen.
I like the fact that you put engagement here, because all too often, sometimes, and it's human nature, we always focus on the job. We are hired into a job, we just want to do the job, and then we forget about the people around us, right? By engaging, there are many ways. I like that one idea that you shared with us. Very, very nice. Yeah.
I was thinking to actually put in a nice positive spin to it, but I say, what? It's actually a real world that we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about application. We're talking about, stories that I can actually share.
Yeah.
I say, let's bring something which is perhaps good intention. It started off with great idea, fantastic, EVP and all that. but perhaps, you know, the outcome is actually not so good. So life is not all about rosiness. It's not about you know, a walk in the park, etc. But it's about, you know, this kind of real life situations and how we deal with it.
Wow, I really love your outlook, you know. So I feel very encouraged for the audience here. Because as long as you come in genuine, as long as, you know, with what I'm gonna quote Shirley's word, with good intentions. See? So you can find a way, right? Yeah, I really like that. Be authentic. That's the key.
We try.
We try. Okay.
Okay,
That's
then
cool.
let's move on to the third E.
Ta-da! Woohoo!
Energy. So
Yes.
energy, right? So, you know, thank you very much for your response. You actually have a very good guess. So I guess, you know, energy and drive. It's a little story which I have. Someone you know, at work,
Right.
you know, from my previous jobs actually told me this thing. You know, and say that you seem not to run out of battery all the time.
They
You know,
say
it seems
that.
like every time I see you, beginning of the day, mid of the day, end of the day, you know, after a very long day, it seems like you're still, you know, full of energy and you've got so much drive, you've got so much idea. How do you do it? Yeah. And I guess for me, it's I guess I have to thank God for actually giving me, you know, this kind of energy
Makeup.
source, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not true, yeah.
No.
But I guess if I can quote from someone famous, you know, that once said, "A day above ground is a great day."
A day above ground is a great day. Okay, I like that. Yeah. That means
Yeah.
being alive, as long as you wake up and then you're breathing, it's a new day.
Exactly.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So bring in energy, bring in a drive. You know, if it's part of a job search, if it's you know, going through the motion in terms of, you know, borrowing a very stagnant job, looking out for the new one, looking out for the next one. You know what? Yeah, a day above ground is a great day.
And everything that you do, you can always put in your best, right? And the best can come in the form of energy, and energy can be, you know, not giving up. Sometimes we have a slow start, sometimes we have a quick start, I don't know. Yeah, but
And maybe sometimes a little caffeine can help a
Ah!
little bit.
love it. Yeah, you know, that's my morning routine. I need my caffeine. Oh, okay.
Okay,
Cool.
then what about the last one? Any guess?
Yeah,
Before we
guys,
actually,
come on,
yeah.
let's have more guesses here. What do you think the last E is? All right, we've got excitement, engagement, energy. Let's guess and see what Shirley will come up with. Any guesses here? Let's see what you come up with. What other things start with E? All right. Oh, I like that. Ho. Endurance. Ooh. What else? Any other guesses for E? Oh, I like it. Heather, you win 200, 500, I think 1,000 points from Eileen, because she mentioned Eileen. Woohoo! So terrible, yeah. So biased. Okay, I like what okay, I don't think I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Xin Yan Sen said empathy. I really like that. Yeah, empathy, enthusiasm. Yeah. You see, I like when excitement, engagement, energy, and yet you're so right? So enthusiastic. Wow. Empathy for sure. Enjoyment. Enjoyment reminds me of a video of a guy skipping after work, going back home. He's skipping, and to see a full-grown adult skipping is a rare sight. But yeah, enjoyment, because it's end of day. No. Correction. Yeah. Okay, we've got a few here. Of course, the best is Eileen. Horrible. Okay, take that back. All right.
So Eileen, shall we give out the last E then?
Wow, nobody guessed this. I will never guess this also, for sure.
Yeah. Well, this is actually according to me. It's based on my own little, you know, career journey.
Yeah.
So as on Edge, you know, and I guess for Edge, you know, here's a little story. You know, that happened to me many years ago when I was, you know, working for a company. The first 6 months.
Okay.
And I was having my usual catch up with my MD, and I can't really recall what we were discussing.
Okay.
But he stopped the conversation halfway, and he said, "You are very bold. You know, why would you tell me stuff that no one else in the company wants to make known to the top person of the company. And do you not think that you're actually treading on very thin ice here? Yeah. So when I heard his comment, I stopped, I paused, and I replied to him. Yeah, I said, if I'm in my role and I observe some nuances, some company culture nuances, and I believe personally that it's actually my role responsibility as the people culture in charge here to actually help set the culture, the workplace happiness. And if I don't pick up the courage and share all this observation with my boss, who is the person in charge of not just achieving the business objective of reaching the financial targets, but also setting the right workplace culture. And if I can't openly discuss how we can work together to improve, to change, to accept, or in fact actually even acknowledge, then I think I'll take it that it's actually my bad luck if I lose a job. But also also good in a way, because I was then able to move away from poor workplace culture. So I guess I think back circling back to your early point about fifth E, where environment. Yeah, so environment for me is also very important, and I guess for all of us here as well, I'm sure it's not just Eileen and myself, with the various workplace that we've been with, but I'm sure in the audience as well that you guys have worked in various different workplace environment with different bosses, with different cultures. You would know what kind of a work environment or workplace will actually work best for you.
Very true. I like that. Yeah. Being sensitive to what works for you, because sometimes we are successful and we think it's all I, me, and myself. I used to think that in the past, plonk me into any environment, I should be able to survive. But then, of course, we learn the hard way, a very painful way, right? Hearing the comment, I know what you're going to say, Eileen. So I really felt so horrible. It's like, oh my gosh, am I that predictable? And then don't sound sincere, right, Shirley?
I guess maybe it's sometimes the choice of word. Maybe you didn't offer the caffeine in the morning.
Yeah. I should have shared, right? Oh, I have another coffee story which I shared in the previous webinar, how I bought coffee for everyone at the office, and then there's this one person who returned my coffee, and then I felt so embarrassed. So I actually took the courage to ask, oh, is it the flavor of the coffee? I didn't get your order right or anything like that, because no one expected me to treat them to coffee, because it seems to be a practice, and I thought, okay, since I'm new, why not try it? Guess what this person said?
You don't take coffee?
No, it's nothing to do with the coffee order. I just don't want to drink your coffee. Oh my God, I just don't want to drink your coffee. I don't want to drink coffee bought by you. It was like back in my face, So what do? Okay. So but the good thing out of that was there was another colleague who was sitting nearby, and the other colleague just said, oh good, you don't want it? I'll have it. So it became it ended in a bit of a humor, but I was so appreciative of the other colleague who actually saved the day, because for a moment I wasn't expecting that response. Yeah, but I've had it, bad as well. I've got my fair share of better scars lah, Shirley.
But I guess what the learning this for me, thank you for sharing your episode, because I think the lesson learned here is that through this episode you found yourself a support.
Yes, yeah. That's the overall good thing that came out of it, of something bad. If that bad thing didn't happen, I don't know, this could be my supporter. And then that supporter actually went a very long way to help in many other instances. Wow, lucky I never write off anyone. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, no, we don't cancel, right? Don't have this cancel culture, in the words of the Gen Zs. Cancel culture.
Yeah, correct.
Very nice.
Yeah, so I guess to wrap up that last bit of the story, in terms of my MD actually saying that you're very bold to actually say this kind of thing. I say I can only put it in summary and say that thank God I actually have I'm very fortunate to have very open-minded bosses who appreciate the candidness.
Very true, right? Yeah, very true. Yeah, you might meet the other coffee response.
You never know.
You never know. Hey, the environment is like that. As long as we wear a coat of Teflon. Yeah, hopefully.
Well, I guess, it brings me to my last slide, which I actually have, and which I think, circling back to what Eileen mentioned, this is going to be an alphabet session.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have
Here's
the
more.
usual 4 E's plus the fifth, E, which is the environment, and then plus, a little
Your
bit
4.
of snippets in terms of, yeah,
Wow,
my 4 little
9
E's.
already.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had these 4 P's.
Okay.
And let me share with you a small story. When I was actually preparing this deck, how I actually come upon this 4P, and I think I shared with Eileen earlier on. I was actually thinking about what to actually do, what to put in, and I was walking along the corridor, deep in my thoughts. I met with one of my team members, and I just casually asked her, "Hey, how are you? How's your day been?" And she's someone that's a little bit junior in terms of the team.
Right.
Also in terms of she just joined about 9 months ago.
Right.
To the company. And my question to her, I think I caught her off guard, but at the same time, I think she took a few seconds to compose herself, and she told me very openly, "You know what, Shirley, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. I'm feeling a bit under pressure because there's a lot to be done. There's a lot of important, there's some important project milestone that needs to be met.
Right.
But she knows she needs to move through, but she's feeling a bit down." Yeah. And I guess, for me, I was actually very happy to hear her comments. Yeah, because, the interaction, the small little, ad hoc interaction that was unplanned, that was unscheduled. And, she was able to actually openly share with me her inner thoughts. Yeah. Which I appreciate, her candidness. Yeah, because rather than trying to, guess whether, the day is working out for them or not, for my team or for my colleagues or for my, peers, I appreciate this kind of, open interaction where at least I'm able to, render support or provide some form of encouragement or perhaps actually, link up with someone else that can actually help them,
Right.
with some of the projects or with some of the work. So I was actually very glad that, she trusted me enough to actually share her emotions. And the next thought I had was then, how can I actually lighten her load? How can I share some of the burden? Maybe I should take over some of the tasks that, in a way was actually assigned by me through the manager to her.
Oh, I see. Initiated by you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said, maybe, why don't I do some of the work my own?
Okay.
Yeah. But at the same time, I also tell myself, these are not options. It's for various reasons. Yeah. Which I will not go into that. But then I didn't realize that, my role, it comes with, purpose. And I said that, okay, yes, now that I'm actually, in charge, the leader for my HR team, I need to openly advocate, this 4 P's.
Okay.
And relay, one, the positivity.
Oh, sorry.
Persuasion. Yeah.
Correct.
It's fine, it's okay.
Hey, this is really impromptu between us. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess, I have to relay and I have to persuade, I have to coax. I won't nag. Yeah. I don't even nag to my 3 children, so I don't think I will nag. Yeah. But I guess, in our role, we have to persuade ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. In order to actually be able to persuade, the others. Yeah. Keeping, moment, keeping up with, the tasks on hand, the projects, and setting that direction as well.
Okay.
And I guess, my role is actually not to take over their job, help them do, the work, but sometimes to also be a cheerleader. Yeah. And also to remind, perhaps we can actually, share the other three P's as well. Yeah. So with the passion, with the persistent, and being positive.
Wow. Someone here actually wrote, SG wrote positivity. So you're spot on. Yeah. And actually, we've got a couple of questions in the Zoom as well. Yeah.
Yep. Correct. Yep. So I guess, with all these 4 P's, it's actually to remind, everyone in my team and also myself as well that, we are our own drivers, charting our own career journeys. Of course, sometimes, the going can be tough.
Yeah.
In terms of, fulfilling, work commitment, timelines, deadlines. But we need to press on. We need to complete the task ahead. And also to inject, some kind of positivity. Yep.
Super.
So with that brings me to the end.
Ta-da! Wow, this is so nice. This is so cool. Yeah. So tell us more about this. This is really, really beautiful, and ladies and gentlemen, whatever you see here, this doodle is actually hand drawn by Shirley. Wow.
Oh no, actually I was about to say that, please follow us, BOLLORE Logistics
Oh,
on LinkedIn, Instagram.
you didn't expect me to go from the right.
No.
You went on the left, right? I see.
And I guess most probably, I also want to, do a bit of selling if,
Yep,
if
yep.
I can.
Yeah, please.
BOLLORE Logistics in Singapore. We are 1,500 people, in Singapore itself. We are looking to hire
Right.
quite a number of people to actually come in and support the volume of the business, new clients that we were very fortunate, we're very happy to onboard them, in the coming months. And so therefore, the slightly bigger QR code, this will actually bring us to the list of roles that we have. And of course, I definitely look forward to actually, receiving, some direct write-ins would be good.
Yeah. I really wish all HR professionals are as open as you are, because it is never easy to bring HR professionals out to an open forum such as this. So everyone here, yeah, really just join me to congratulate her. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's really true. It's really true. Yeah. So I think this center QR code, and by the way, what's on the right is not a QR code. Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's a doodle. Yeah. But I think everyone here can see that your energy there, you exhibit all the 4 E's that you talk about. You definitely live on the edge, because Heather has it in a comment as well. She said frankness, but superiors and managers do not appreciate it. My positive is, as long as I contribute to the problem solving, it's up to your decision whether to take it or not. At the end, implementation of my suggestion maybe a few years later, perhaps. Yeah. But it's, sometimes they don't like it, right? You are really living on the edge. There's a chance you might. But hey, you got support.
Nice.
I thought so. Yeah. And
Thank you for everyone.
yeah, and thank you. Yeah. And I was gonna ask you some questions as well. There were some questions in the chat saying that okay, maybe I read the first one. What if there is no such heroic call, for help? What would you do with such a harsh response of coffee example, like my example, my coffee example? What will you do, Shirley?
What will I do?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I can't say I have the exact scenario that actually panned out, but it was something similar over coffee as well.
Oh.
So there was a job that I took on. I started, and it was day one.
Okay.
And guess what? I was about to extend my hand across the table to shake hands with my new colleagues.
Right.
And being the clumsy bit of me, I extended my hand, and that hand actually went across and poured that coffee away.
It's a different coffee
So it
example.
created a
Oh
created a big
my.
mess.
Lucky I never
you can
pour
imagine the
coffee.
awkwardness. Yeah, so you can imagine the awkwardness. So I don't have the kind of remark, that you had in your face, but I had that. Yeah. So I had that, and it was a big mess, across the table. The coffee was all over the place, and of course, for the first 2 weeks, of course, that new colleague, or I'm the new colleague to her,
Like that.
didn't talk to me at all.
I remember
so-
you.
So what did I do? Instantly during that situation, I remembered. Of course, I apologized profusely. I said, I'm so sorry. So clumsy of me. Can I offer to buy you your next cup? Yeah. And she out flat, refused and didn't want to engage me. Was so upset. Didn't want to talk to me.
Really?
And I was like, okay. Then I left her alone, because maybe in this kind of context, she also felt embarrassed. Yeah. So I left her alone. And then after that, I waited for, towards the end of the day, when it was just me and her, and I said, I'm really sorry again for actually doing this. It wasn't my intention.
Yeah, right.
Really clumsy. Yep. Of course, the next 2 weeks it wasn't, very, very comfortable. But I guess I had to take action. I had to own it and say, I'm sorry, and to address it.
Okay.
Yeah, but like what Heather say, it is her decision to take
Right.
up my apology or not.
Yeah.
But from my end, I've actually done, my fair bit.
Okay, I really love that. Yeah, thank you so much. I think the main thing is protect yourself first, right? If we keep, living based on other people's responses, it's very tough. But I like the part about owning up first. Once you own up, it's give people time to heal, right? And then actually there's a question also that is sent to me by DM. How to overcome the situation if you're constantly being alienated in a company by your colleague? Because we are talking about transition, right? They are transitioning into the role. What's your advice?
Well, I guess I most probably will circle back, to your earlier point about, finding the minority group versus the majority group. Yeah. I guess for me, I was lucky, but also at the same time, I also had some, learning, great, lessons learned from some other episodes as well, where I also realized that, okay, in certain occasions, I was a bit of minority. I cannot say ostracized, but I was a bit of minority, where perhaps I was the only, a minority gender within the group.
Right.
It was, in some of the companies that I actually work for, it's a lack of a better word, it was a boys club. Yeah. But how do I then actually read the room, assess where I can actually bring in my own value. I think trying to establish your own VAS, your value added services to the team,
Right.
is actually very important.
Right.
Yeah, and I think I sort of hold on to this this mode throughout my career journey.
Okay, that's wonderful. I just want to share what I received earlier on. These are some of the earlier questions that we got ahead of the webinar. So I'm going to be going through some of them. I think the first one is, how do I equip myself to transit into another role? Of course, this question was asked before I went through the beginning part. So I'm going to be going through them, and then the second one is, so Shirley, feel free to pick the questions you want to answer. The second one is, any tips to remain visible to others? Third one, do companies post job adverts just to know the job market sentiment? Fourth one, how do I deal with the imposter syndrome? And then two more, I am 60 years old, how do I pitch myself to enter the HR role? And the last one is, stagnancy is a common problem an employee may face in their role. So how should one overcome this problem, especially when the organization is small scale and individual finds it very hard to grow further?
Okay, Eileen, I guess thank you very much for going through those questions. I think if I can, I'd like to try and tackle most of them.
Yeah.
Sorry, but you flip over that that list of
Oh, you want to tackle, but you need to see what to. I like this as tackle. Okay, here.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess the tips about remaining visible to others.
Yeah.
I think just a few seconds ago I just mentioned about the VAS. Find your own VAS, your value added service.
Yeah, I like that.
So once you're able to identify your value added service, your VAS, I think it's not outrightly trying to brand yourself, trying to promote yourself, but if you're able to actually find your own unique selling point, your own VAS, I think it's very visible by nature, by default. Yep. And so the third question is, companies posting job adverts just to know job market sentiments. I think it's a yes and no, because there could actually be genuine, role vacancies, which BOLLORE Logistics Singapore actually do have. So we don't post job adverts to test the job markets. So these are real roles.
I love it. That's the real deal. That's the real deal. The QR code you scan leads to a real, website with real jobs. Not for AI, yeah.
No, yeah.
Excellent.
And I guess the one that I'm actually keen to actually tackle, it's the imposter syndrome. And I guess thanks to Eileen, she shared with me this list earlier on, prior to this session. I had a bit of thinking, and in fact actually I like this question, because for me, imposter syndrome, I deal with it sometimes. I cannot say all the time because then it's a bit, quirky.
Yeah.
But sometimes I will have this imposter syndrome.
Right.
Yeah. The feeling of actually not being adequate, not being competent, and I'm being put in that position. So what do I do with it? How do I actually cope with it? I think it's actually very good to have, this feeling of imposter syndrome because it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me in check. It keeps me trying to be real, trying to be genuine, trying to, upkeep with, the skill sets, with, the knowledge of the industry, with, what my boss is looking at me, my team is looking at me to be able to bring to the table. Yeah. So I think this imposter syndrome in a way is actually very helpful. Yeah. Of course, it cannot be too much, too much of anything is bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I like the imposter syndrome question as well. I resonate with you. I think the one of the first steps in innovation is always to imitate. So imitation is the first step to innovation, and I think is very counterintuitive. It's sort of like, wait, if I want to innovate, why when I imitate it's not innovation? It's sort of like forcing you out of your comfort zone. Then you're trying something out, you're not ready yet, but then I like what you also mentioned, be cognizant. You're not there yet, but you keep improving until you become it, right? Really, really nice. Okay. And what about the part about the stagnant, being very stagnant in the role? What can anyone do when they are stagnant in their role?
Yeah. Well, I guess stagnant in role is actually to me, I think it's actually more of a individual self-directed question.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So because it seems to me that when this question is being raised, the person itself is fully aware that there is actually such a situation.
Yeah.
They actually already know the answer. This is how I would interpret. And therefore, it's actually about going back to the earlier points that you just mentioned. Earlier in the session, take control, take action, seek help, give help.
Yeah, and pay forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pay forward.
Yes.
And earn trust. Yes, for sure. I think just to add on to the being stagnant, being in the same role all the time, one thing good about small outfit is you can actually have a go at different kind of jobs, right? They don't have a specialized function. For example, HR, if you want to try com and ben, you can also try because the company is so small, right? So maybe it's good for those people who want to try out something new, because no one is doing it dedicatedly. So maybe you can offer yourself. Maybe. Yeah. Haha. What about the next question? Just asking you here. This one, right? I'm 16.
Actually, I would omit the front bit of the age because
very nice.
I just look at it and how do I pitch myself to enter the HR role? I guess the most straightforward one, looking at my own little experience, just pick a job in HR.
Right.
Just start. With
Right.
any role that's within the HR, team, the department. When I actually look back, at this question and look back at my own, little experience, how I stumbled in terms, in this 25 years in HR, it all started with a vacation job. I was just looking for a part-time holiday work that pays a little bit more, and there's this gig, and I just landed on it and just continue. I enjoy the interaction, I enjoy the amount of variety, the differences, the amount of how should I put it, openness. Money is one, yeah, but that was actually my starting point when I was actually doing picking up the best vacation job,
right,
when I was in school, yeah. But that was actually not my outcome, because the outcome that I actually had, looking now where I am, it's the amount of rich experience I actually had. The exposure that I was actually very lucky, very fortunate to have as well along the way. Different countries, different nationalities, different teams, different industry as well. Yeah. So I guess, circling back to that question, how do I actually enter into HR role? Pick up a job, in HR or related. It can be training, it can be recruitment. It doesn't need to be in the HR, yeah, but anything that's actually along the way, yeah. Or if not, well, I guess our Singapore government is actually very generous,
Yes.
by giving us the skills future credits.
Yes.
Yeah, so make use of those credits. Yeah, upskill, reskill, pick up a new skill.
Yes. Okay, sounds like a jingle. Could be a jingle. I shall remember that. Upskill, reskill, and pick up a new skill.
A new skill, yes.
Ta-da, boom. Okay, there's a question in the chat. Do you believe that money can be a motivation for career change?
Why not?
Why not?
If you ask me,
Yeah.
yes, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Yes. So answer is yes, it can be. And I think especially for those where commission based, very low basic but then high commission, dynamic earnings kind of arrangement, these individuals know that I have the potential to bring in even more. Don't pay me a fixed rate, I can bring in even more. So yeah, money can be a motivator. That's my opinion.
Yes, I agree with you as well. But having said that, I will add on.
Okay.
Yes, those low base, high commission, it also means that forget about the work-life balance. There's no balance here.
Very true.
So I'm trying to be real here.
Words of HR, yes. I hope you guys are as encouraged as I am. Bring you a future mentor, future career sponsor. Yes. Surely you're definitely not the run off the mill kind of HR. So definitely such a breath of fresh air.
Vacation job.
Yes. Okay. There's also another comment. Unfortunately, she missed the. Okay, Audrey says she missed the first part and all those stuff. Can still join hand and share more live cases. Wow. I think Shirley, that means you have to come back. You have to come back.
If my boss says yes, I'm more than happy to.
Remember, you're living on the edge.
You mean on the ice?
Exactly. Okay. What would you like the new joiners or newcomers to do to demonstrate a job fit from an HR perspective? So now you are HR, and where you see new joiners come in, how would you say, well, this one, I'm very happy with how this person is progressing? What are some of the indicators? I think that is the purpose of that question, if I'm not wrong.
Well, I guess for me, that's the reason why we have probation period, right?
Okay. But so what do you look out? Okay, I think I'm treading on thin ice here, but can share or share, all right?
Yeah, well, I guess if you ask me in terms of job fit, first and foremost, it's actually about what the candidate brings and what the company can actually offer as well. It's a two-way thing. I never believe in actually having just one way and say, the company has a job, candidate apply and they have to commit why they have to why they qualify to be offered the job.
Right.
I always believe that it's a two-way communication. It has to be a match. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's a marriage, but it's a match. Yeah. It has to be a match because what the candidate can bring, in terms of the past experience, in terms of the energy, in terms of the spirit that they should bring along with them during the session, during the interview, that resulted in them actually having the offer from the company.
Right.
And I think it's also the way during the session that the company actually comes across as providing the opportunity, as providing the right environment, as providing the right potential, the growth, in terms of the staff's their own individual career journey as well. So it has to be a match.
Okay. Yeah. What if I rephrase that question and ask you, have you come across an individual who during their probation you see that this individual really probably cannot make it past the probation? So what are some of the telltale signs?
Yeah, which I guess most probably I wouldn't wait until the end of the probation period to then sort of then sit down with the staff or sit down with the new hire and say, I don't think you are going to make it.
Okay.
I always believe that yes, there's a probation period. It's
right.
90 days, it's 60 days, it's 180 days, regardless of the duration. But always have frequent periodic checks. It can be initiated by the supervisor. It can also be initiated by the new hires as well. So I do know that in the recent young graduates that I actually have in the company, I know their schools actually taught them or has been teaching them to actually get feedback.
I like that.
Which is something that it's refreshing, because back in those days, when I was studying, my school never taught me all this.
Yeah.
So I had young talents who actually come to me and say, can I have feedback in terms of how I'm actually doing, how I'm performing.
Right.
And I think it's also very good advice for us as well internally.
Right.
Yeah, that we are seasoned professions. Yes, we've been working, for decades, for many years really.
Right.
But it's also self-reflection, and actually perhaps also ask, when you're transiting a new role, perhaps actually openly seek out, this kind of feedback as well. Yeah, and not wait until the end of the probation period and say, I'm sorry, but you're not going to make it, or I'm sorry, but this company is not going to make it for me. It can be vice versa.
I really like the tip. Yeah, I think that advice is very, very good. We can actually seek for feedback, from others. Okay, make sure they have something good to say. The timing of the
Even if
asking.
it's nothing good to say, for
Right.
me, I find it's also lesson learned. Yeah, because then it's also a telltale sign or indicator and say that, am I going to make it, or is this place going to make it for me?
So I like what you mentioned about a best practice or a good practice that you've seen, right? Take the initiative and ask for feedback. Don't wait till the last day and all that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Let me check. Seems like we answered all, and Gary can do a little double check for me. Gary, thank you so much.
Pleasure, Eileen.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And you should meet Gary. Yeah, I think Shirley, you should meet Gary. Okay. Any parting advice? Yeah. Not last words, parting advice.
Well, for me, I've actually taken away a lot more than what I've actually prepared for this session.
You're too nice.
Yeah. Because for me, it's about learning from one another.
Yeah.
Even though with the audience, it's perhaps a little bit less active engagement, but
Right.
through the meeting chats, thank you very much. But I really pick up a lot of new insights, and I think for me, it's actually being self-aware and take control, take charge, take action. I think that's actually very important. Yeah. So with that, I leave you.
Wow. Wow, being self-aware, take control and take charge. Wow, that's really cool. You always have all these nice little jingles. I really like it. You should write it down apart from your doodling. And your doodling is for sale, right?
I hope so at one point in time.
Very, very nice. Yeah. And I just want to thank Shirley for taking time out. Please connect with Shirley on LinkedIn as well. Reach out to her. She is one HR that I find, really, really has the H in the HR, which is human, the human touch. Yeah. Since the first day we met, it's like so thank you again for being here. I hope this
Likewise, thank you very much,
particular
Nadine.
yeah, I hope this particular moment actually, where your paths cross with others, it brings new meaning to everybody as well. Yay! Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
and
you.
the connection can be done through the other QR code.
Oh.